Well, we are back from Christmas break, and now we're just 2 days out from the Texas Longhorns playing the Michigan Wolverines in the Cheez-Its Citrus Bowl in Orlando, Florida. So we're pumped to see the Texas Longhorns on the football field again, but it will be a different looking team than we saw through all of 2025, as we've discussed in the past. But one thing I did today over on Orange Bloods is kind of go through and put a call out about the bowl opt outs and the missing guys and the guys who transferred out as far as the contributors. What I'm expecting to happen in their place among new contributors based on the data we have from the season and just general thoughts about these guys from a evaluation standpoint and from a prospect profile standpoint. So we're going to talk about all that here today. Before we do, we got to thank our great sponsors, though. First, the Man Eye Institute, where you can see life better at the Man Eye Institute. You can give them a phone call today, 1-844-WOW-2020. 844-WOW-2020. I'd just like to say thanks to Sky and to Dr. Tremblay up there and just the great staff at the Man Eye Institute. I was actually there earlier today. And you guys know I've been complaining about my eyes and having trouble reading these little tiny bits of texts in the old Bible and dark restaurants and stuff like that. I was lucky enough to fill a couple of tags this weekend that's why we were gone this weekend. I went out hunting, filled out a couple tags, and when I did, I went to the processor and took these deer in there, and I was like, where you got to cut out the month and the date on the little things. They were literally so small to where I couldn't see them. I had to ask the processor guy. I'm like, can you cut these out for me, man? Like I can't see them. And what Dr. Tremblay told me today is like, dude, that's perfectly normal. You get into your 40s, you lose some of your vision. I know that a lot of you guys have been dealing with it. The cool thing about Dr. Tremblay is, though, if you've thought about it and you're like, man, I'm just going to go into a place like Man Institute, and what they're going to do is they're just going to talk me into getting LASIK because that's what they want to do. They're going to upsell everything. I go in there. Dr. Tremblay's like, nope, not a candidate for LASIK. Your long vision's already too good. Don't want to take anything away from your depth perception. And then as far as prescription glasses, don't want to do that either. It's too expensive for you. Go buy some Maui Gems or something like that have little bifocals on them, and you'll be good until you're 50 years old and come back if things don't work. And I'm just like, man, everybody's just super honest. They took all these tests in my eye. It's amazing, Cody. They can show you your eye and kind of, your corneas and retinas. I can't pretend to explain it all, but they understand it all there. So that's my testimonial from the Man Eye Institute, man. They were super, super, super cool. Very, very, very honest. And everything there's just so high tech and so nice. We're so glad to have them as a presenting sponsor. And thanks to them for inviting me into that great campus there today off of Breaker Lane. All right, Cody, we have a bunch to get to today. I guess the first thing I wanted to start with was just, I guess at running back, what we're expecting to happen here with some of these, new or newish contributors at the running back position. We have CJ Baxter, who's gone. Trey Wisner's gone. Jarrett Gibson's gone. And between those guys who've been going for Texas, that represents 79.7% of the Texas running back snaps from 2025. That's how many have been vacated. 78% of the running back carries, 79% of the running back rushing yards, 80% of the running back rushing touchdowns. So like basically an 80% usage rate, right, is up for grabs in this game. And that sounds like a lot, right? That's a high number, right? Can you believe that those three running backs, basically the five running backs that the Texas had last year that actually played, because Michael Terry didn't play, Ricky Stewart Jr., who's gone now, didn't play. But between those three and then Christian Clark and James Simon, can you believe that all of these running backs combined for 1,198 rushing yards and 5 touchdowns? Looking back, it didn't seem – I mean, I know it was pitiful, but did it seem that pitiful? But between Trey Wisner, CJ Baxter, and Jarrett Gibson, Texas is losing 4 rushing touchdowns from this last season. And I was just thinking, dude, in this game, so we're going to have Christian Clark in this game. We're going to have James Simon in this game. We'll have Michael Terry in this game. If Texas had a good game running the football and those guys got into situations where they were down on the 1 yard line or something like that, and they got a couple opportunities to fall in, those three could, in a good game, albeit, not going to happen every time, but they could conceivably rush for as many touchdowns in this game among the running backs as those three did all season. So those guys needed to, hit the escape hatch one way or the another. Same thing with the running backs coach. But I'm just interested to hear how you think this is going to go. I think that Christian Clark will be the first one up. I think we'll see him and James Simon before we see Michael Terry. I think that Clark is better in space than he is between the tackles. I think he's better as a receiving running back. I think that we weren't able to see much of Simon, but what we did see of him was some good flashes of vision and ability to fall forward, but not too much real burst or pop. I don't know if you haven't did different eval on the limited snaps we've seen on him. I think my prediction for this game is that I think Clark will look good in the screen game. I think Simon will look about as serviceable as as the rest of these running backs have been, meaning to say I think he's probably going to be okay, but not anything eye-popping. I think Michael Terry could be the one that really kind of comes in and shows, like, all right, coming into next year, we have to have a plan for this guy alongside the transfer portal running back or running backs that are going to be here and Derek Cooper. I'm hoping that we get to see Michael Terry go into that kind of, we always said he could be some kind of bizarro, late career NFL Cordero Patterson type of college player. This guy that's a wide receiver that also plays running back.
I think my biggest problem is that, you can kind of correlate it a little bit to like the NFL draft process where we are talking about players that are not playing for a long period of time. So there's narratives that can get built. And I think over the last 2 weeks, we've talked ourselves, not just you and me, or not just me, not just you, but I think as a Texas ecosystem into this idea that, we'd like to see KJ Lacey. We'd like to see, Arch Manning not play with backup offensive linemen. We'd like to see Michael Terry. We'd like to see, Jamie French and Khalil Locke get targeted a bunch. We'd like to see X, Y, and Z. And I'm not sure we're going to get much of it. And that's just based on things that, like Kyle Flood said, like yesterday in his press availability. It's like, it doesn't sound like there's much of. It's almost like, remember when Mike Zimmer at one time was asked about Kellen Mond? He's like, why don't you put Kellen Mond in the game? And he's like, because I see him every single day.
Yeah.
Like, yes, it's to us, it's like, well, you want to see these guys get live game reps against Michigan so you know what you got next year. But I'm assuming the Texas staff, based on things they've said before, is like, we know what we got because these guys are going against our defense every single day in practice. And, they've probably had X amount of, live sessions where they get to see these guys good on good in practice. So as much as I'm 100% with you, Alex, I would love to see Michael Terry get, 5 to 10 carries in this game, a couple of receptions. I would love to see all these different things. I'm a little nervous that, it's a Christian Clark, James Simon backfield with, we've heard and we've seen some Ryan Niblett stuff this last week of him he was like the second back out there, Anwar said when he was watching practice yesterday. So it's like, what if it's just strictly Clark, Niblett, and Simon, and then Michael Terry gets like two carries? It's like, that's not something I think. You look at a running back like Michael Terry, it's like,
I just think that would be his
ability to take a ball.
They learned their lesson about that with Keelan Robinson in that Alamo Bowl whenever they played him like that and they didn't play Jonathan Brooks. Or was that Keelan? I forget what exactly that was. It was something where it was like, I think it was Brooks was set for a big workload because it was like, were Bijan and Roschon sitting out of the game? And then they gave Keelan a bunch of tackles. Did I just dream that? I don't know exactly what it was, but it's just like, it's like in that kind of game, give reps to the upside guy.
For sure. I mean, I'm not telling you that's wrong. I'm just telling you what it feels like. We want to see it. And it, like, Keelan at 8 for 27 in that game, 6 receptions for 40 in that game against Washington that you're referring to, the Alamo Bowl. I'm just saying, like, it to me, Michael Terry is a guy that I would love to see 8 carries out of. I don't want to see 2 carries out of Michael Terry. I don't want to see him come in for a carry. He gets hit in the backfield, loses a yard. He comes back in 3 drives later, gets a carry, pops it for 6, and then we don't see him again. Like, that's what I feel like is in a more likely range of outcomes than us seeing like 2 straight drives of Michael Terry getting to sit back there and get a feel for what it's like to play running back in a game with live bullets flying at you. It's just like I don't know. I think we're more likely to see more carries out of Colin Page than we are get like if you were to say Colin
Oh,
Page versus Michael Terry, Colin Page versus Michael Terry, put a number on it. Like who's going to get more carries?
Michael Terry.
All right, what are my odds?
What are your
I'm being
odds?
dead serious.
We bet it. I don't know. I would bet
They
it.
want to win the football game. Like
Do you want me to give you like long? Do you want like long odds on it, or I mean, if
yeah,
you're confident? No, I'm not gonna.
I'll give you Emmanuel Wilson or Emmanuel Wilson Roshan Johnson bet double or nothing.
What was that one for?
It was a beef rib.
Oh, okay, but I
And
don't.
Emmanuel Wilson.
But it isn't. This isn't like it has to that. Like you're not telling me I have to have like Michael Terry -2 rushes or something. You're saying that just even
Well, I
number.
want a number on it. That's what I'm saying. I want like a number on it.
What do you? Okay. I mean, I'll say it's Michael Terry, and I'll say if you want to take Colin Page, you take Colin Page for you can take it plus 120.
All right, so that's okay. Let's call it even then. We'll just call it double or nothing then.
All right, fair enough. I still can't believe that I lost. Still can't believe that Emmanuel Wilson outscored Roshan Johnson in fantasy this season. Just, gosh. That's what Kyle Monunga will do for you. Hey, go to alphaseasoning.com and pick up our new Longhorn Dust Spice Blend. Thanks so much for everybody for selling us out of it. You can order it right now for pre-order. The only reason I'm saying it right now, whenever we don't actually have units to ship out, is because it's only for the next 2 days that we have the sale going on. We get 20% off with the promo code Santa. So if you do that, you pre-order some of the Longhorn Dust. We'll ship it to you just as soon as we get it, but we have 20% off right now. And if you buy 3 bottles, it will ship for free. So that's something that loses us money. But we're doing it, to say thank you to everybody for being so supportive. Again, thank you for selling us out. Selling us out like that of our first shipment. We can't
You
tell
got
you.
OG though.
Yeah, we're pretty close to being out of that too. But we have new shipments coming in of both. But the Longhorn Dust is on an expedited order because we do have a kind of a backlog of people who've ordered it. So alphaseasoning.com, you guys will love it. There's a reason why so many people buy it and so many people try it. And you can also get it at Texas Beef Traders. Make sure and go check out Texas Beef Traders right there off Loman's Crossing in 620. You get 10% off whenever you go in. Cody, whenever you come in for the Navy game, are you going to go to Texas Beef Traders? Make sure and get your fix.
Yes.
Yeah. Cody comes all the way in sometimes just to go to Texas Beef Traders. Go see Darren, go see Thomas, go eat some food, drink some drinks. If you go there on a Thursday, Friday, or Saturday night, you should go in there and just sit down and have dinner. It's just so cool. You just go pick a steak. They'll charge you for the steak, and then they'll give you a dinner. It's like it's like bone marrow mashed potatoes or these. It's just awesome stuff that they have there, and they make it for you. They got great wines there. Go check them out, Texas Beef Traders, and make sure and get your 10% off on whatever you want to buy there. Whenever you mention Orange Bloods. All right. Another one, Cody. Gosh, this is. We need to blast through these. The receivers. So as far as the contributors that are gone, Aaron Butler's gone, but that it doesn't matter. It's DeAndre Moore who's the biggest contributor who's gone. I'm predicting a major uptick for Dalen McCutcheon just out of the slot. He's been the wide receiver 5 this whole season. But I do think maybe I'm wrong. I think they need to get a look at Lockett and French.
They have to. It's a must.
Guys that didn't play a whole lot, but I think the biggest uptick here as a guy that's vacating about 51% of snaps and DeAndre Moore and a 14% target share, the guy that played in the slot behind him and the guy that played the most of any of these other guys this whole season was Dalen McCutcheon.
I mean, I think it's a must. Obviously, I think we're going to get more McCutcheon because of the DeAndre Moore departure, but I mean, it's a must that you get Khalil Lockett and Jamie French some targets. I mean, we saw today Cam Coleman, the star wide receiver from Auburn, entered the portal. I think there's a better chance than not that potentially Ryan Williams from Alabama maybe jumps in the portal. I mean, he's over $1 million receiver, obviously, and he's now like the 4th option for Alabama. It's like there's going to be a lot of names. Dallas Wilson, the receiver from Florida that everyone loves, like his name is floating. He's not entered, but he's floating around Texas A&M street. So it's like there's going to be a lot of receivers that are out there and available. You have to know what you have in your room. Yes, again, they know who these guys are. We just talked about that from a practice perspective, but this is live bullets. You have to see physically if Khalil Lockett and Jimmy French are there. As route runners, if they're there, if they can, handle the pressure of in-game playing against, not only a Power 5, but a high-end Power 5 football team. It's a must to figure out. I think we know Dalen McCutcheon can play football. He did that early, but we haven't seen hide nor hair of Khalil Lockett or Jamie French in a live game like this. So that's a massive checkbox. If you had to make, a list of 10 things we must see this weekend, it's that.
As far as the linebackers, we know that just all the contributors are gone basically, except for Ty Anthony Smith. We have Anthony Hill Jr. gone to the draft, Leongo Lafau gone to transfer portal, Trey Moore gone to the draft. So as far as the evaluation piece here, like we talk about, getting a look at these guys, seeing how they fit, it's like on the defensive side of the ball, it's not quite like it is on offense because the whole defense, the minute the game is over, the defense changes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the way it is. But how they operate in a competitive atmosphere is going to be something that obviously is valuable. Anwar reported that the starting linebackers during his massive 5-minute window of practice availability on Saturday were Ty Anthony Smith and Brad Spence. Brad Spence, who of course came as an off-ball linebacker, but then I just don't think the staff was super happy with what they saw out of him in that role, and they moved him down to edge. Now, look, this is a situation where in Muschamp's defense, they're going to need more linebackers. They need more linebackers anyway. It's super thin. This is a good chance. This is a good proving ground for him to say, like, hey, man, I can play off ball. I can play one of these outside linebackers in this new 3-4 scheme that we're going to be running coming up here. So I think it's a good opportunity for him to show that he's a projected fit in a similar role. I think it's also an important game for Bo Barnes. He has the opportunity to kind of – I just want to see if he's got the speed necessary to – like the speed to – that would be necessary to just be part of this kind of defense that Sark has said he's envisioned, and what we've typically seen out of these not Muschamp defenses, but certainly Muschamp defenses, but definitely in defenses he's been closely associated with, Saban era Alabama, Kirby, these kinds, right? Fast attacking fronts, right? I'm just interested in kind of how his speed looks because we have not seen much of him at all this year. I think that Spence will look good at the inside. I think that Spence looked good at inside linebacker at Arkansas. I think he looked good. As far as Barnes, I legit have no idea what to expect.
I don't know really what to expect from Bo Barnes or Spence. I think it's interesting just like listening to Johnny Nansen talk about Ty Anthony Smith because we obviously heard before the year. I've brought it up multiple times because of kind of how the results came through. But Sark talking about Ty Anthony as being one of the better tacklers on the team, and the deep dig saying kind of the opposite. And then Johnny Nansen this weekend was in a press conference coming into this game saying, having this guy on my left step up and become a leader on his left was Ty Anthony at the time. And having so many young guys step up, it's a great opportunity for them to showcase what they're capable of. And I just like, my takeaway was like, these guys love Ty Anthony Smith. Like they're in lockstep about who Ty Anthony Smith is and what kind of they expect from him. And I wrote that back in a column to Catch, and Catch is like, just throwing this out there, like he can't be upgraded. I'm like, yeah, I 100% think you can upgrade from Ty Anthony, and I think he can grow. And I wonder about this entire linebacker room and what it looks like a week from now or a week and a half from now through the portal beginning. But it sure seems like Sark and Nansen, amongst others, believe that Ty Anthony is like the next guy. Obviously, Atkinson's coming in, but it seems like they wholeheartedly believe in what Ty Anthony can do.
Yeah, well, I think that they believe in what Atkinson can do too, and I think those are your two starters week 1 of 2026. All right, and then the secondary. So with the corners, we have Manny Muhammad gone, we have Jalen Gilbo gone as far as contributors. With the safeties as far as contributors, we have Michael Taft gone, Derek Williams gone. So we get to see how a post-Muhammad secondary looks, and hopefully it's better than it was versus Florida in his absence. I think it's a massive game for Cade Phillips, who was by far the most efficient cornerback on the team, generating production once every 7.32 snaps. He played 183 snaps in 2025. Kobe Black had major struggles through the middle of the season, was burned once every 82.5 snaps, which was the highest on the whole team. but finished on a real high note versus A&M. Admittedly, good prospect, good player. Warren Roberson, not as highly touted as the other guy, not overly productive. But as I was looking through, man, he did generate 3 PBUs on just 123 total defensive snaps last year. So I think those are your 3 kind of lead horses that are going to be going in there, mixing and matching and stuff. I think that Phillips is probably going to play it. I think that Phillips. I think is Phillips going to be on Andrew Marsh? That's it.
I would assume so.
I think it'll be a good game for him. And then as far as the safeties, so Jelani says he's staying, which is great. So basically, I think Xavier Filsaime starts. In the game when Jelani went down versus Vanderbilt, Filsaime played like 93% of snaps in that game. He's kind of the obvious safety 3, starting like 3-4 games into the season. But I also look into it and I say, man, Jonah Williams, that's one where they're not going to get to look at him in spring because he's playing baseball. And he's a phenom. And I think it's just some extended time on the field for him could be interesting. He's been playing more and more as it is. The other guys would be Jordan Johnson-Rubel and I guess Zealous Hicks.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's going to be a lot of Filsaime, but I do think that we see some Jonah Williams. Or is that just me wish casting the same way I'm doing with Michael Terry?
I think it's less wish casting with Jonah. I think it's more realistic that if I was going to say snap for snap, I would take Jonah by a million. I think it's very realistic to expect 3-4 drives of defense where it's purely Jonah Williams on the back end.
So you think he'll play a third of the snaps?
I think he'll play a third of that. I think they're going to, we've seen him rotate safeties all year. Like I think Jonah's going to get a grip.
So you think 3 or 4 would be 25% to 33% of snaps because generally they're going to have
10 drives. Yeah. You get 10, 11 drives.
Yeah.
I would say, 3 drives. I would feel really, I feel good about 3 drives, maybe 4.
All right. And then corners.
And at corner, Andrew Marsh is pretty nice. I got to see him at the Jacksonville 5-Star Challenge a year and a half ago, and you can see what he is right now, a Texas boy. It'll be interesting. They got a couple other good receivers too, so I think these corners got their work cut out for them. I'll be interested to see if Cade steps up in this. All these guys really, who's going to step up? That's kind of my biggest question. We think, like you said, Cade had a good game. He's had a good, last couple of weeks, but Kobe had a good game. I'd like to see, Warren Robertson step up. I'd like to see a couple of these other guys get some more opportunities and kind of step up, and hopefully none of them get burnt and have bad. I'd like to not see anybody. I'd like to see no cornerbacks have a bad game. How about that?
I think Texas fans would most certainly agree with you there on that one.